Welcome back to the Island Contracting Nightly Sports Coverage. Walsh along with Chris Mueller for tonight's show. We're going to go right to the phone lines. We got Bert on line 2. What's up, Bert?
Guys, thanks. Yeah, speaking of Ben, I know Najee gets a lot of yards after contact. That's one of his strengths, but I don't think his style is as rugged as the Bus or, say, Larry Zonka. And it doesn't sound right to me when I hear Ben saying, seek out contact. I mean, take it if it's there, but, let him play his own game. Let him develop his own style. It just didn't sound right to me when I heard him say that.
Yeah, Bert, Chris, he's not like any of the Steelers running backs, really. I mean, he's maybe similar to a Le'Veon Bell. They just don't have the offensive line that's open up holes. They did have their best performance, like you talked about. He had a 4.1 yards per carry average, his best game so far this year.
Well, I'm with Bert there in that I don't like the quarterback telling the running back how to go about his business. And by the way, yeah, he wasn't like Bettis. I think his 14 catches, against 2 weeks ago, right, against the Bengals or whatever, is more than Bettis might have had in some seasons. But I don't mean to pile on here with Roethlisberger. But we know in that Packers game, he barely faced pressure on his 40 dropbacks. There's a stat floating around 7% of the time he got pressured. That's the lowest for a quarterback with 40 attempts in a loss since 2013. Brooke Pryor put that out there. It's wild. Who is Ben Roethlisberger? A very tough guy who's been doing this almost 20 years. But who is he right now at this moment in time to tell his running back, essentially, you're not running hard enough or big enough? Ben is the one getting rid of the ball before pressure even comes close to getting to him. I know he's been banged up a lot, but come on. Look in the mirror before you walk outside of your glass house before you're throwing those stones at your running back, who is, by the way, taking an absolute pummeling on almost every play.
Do you think Juju regrets signing here for 1 year with the Steelers this year? Why? Looking back, why did he do it?
How could he not? Maybe he was worried that schematically in Kansas City he wouldn't get as many touches. Hill is so dynamic down the field. Kelsey works the middle of the field that maybe he would be redundant, especially with Kelsey. But I don't know, man. You go to Kansas City, you have those two guys. They're the focus of so much attention. Juju would at best be the third option there. He would be one heck of a third option. I think he miscalculated, and maybe his ego got in the way. I don't know. He had his two greatest seasons in the NFL, Richie, when he was what? A second fiddle, definitively, to the best wide receiver in football at the time. So I don't know what he thought he was going to do here, but I think even with fewer opportunities in the form of fewer targets, he'd probably put up better numbers in Kansas City.
I was told by a few people on the inside that he is a number 2 guy, and that's how he's going to get paid. He wants number 1 money, but teams are only going to pay him, at best, a number 2 type receiver. All right, let's go back out to phone lines. We got Dale out in Mount Lebanon. How you doing, Dale?
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hey, the Steelers are going to win Sunday, and I'll tell you the reason why. Ever since Tom has been coach of the Steelers, the most he lost in a row was 3. He's never lost 4 in a row. So the Steelers are going to win.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he has. He's lost 4 in a row to start the 2013 season.
Yeah, I was just going to say 2013. Yeah, they started 0-4. All right. What about last year? Didn't they? What happened at the end of the year last year?
They lost 4 of 5. They lost 4 of their last 5 to end last season. They didn't lose 4 in a row because it was 3, then 1 win, then another loss. But, come on.
Yeah.
They've also had, the infamous Unleash Hell in December many years ago. I think I was, still in college when that happened. Or maybe just out of college.
That was
or maybe in my 7th year at Penn State.
Was that 09 maybe, or was that even 07?
If that was 09, I might. Yeah, I think 09 I would have been maybe back at Penn State occasionally carousing on a random long weekend or something. But the point is, they've lost 4 in a row under him before. And by the way, they don't have a very sterling track record against the Denver Broncos since Mike Tomlin's been their head coach.
No, they don't. The Denver Broncos have a great record, but they beat 3 really bad teams. So you can't. This isn't a slam dunk win for the Broncos, but I just can't see this offense putting up points. They just can't. I don't know what they have to change a lot and figure things out. I know Ben. I asked him a question early in the year, and he said there's going to be growing pains. But this is more than growing pains right now, Chris. Let's go back.
What I don't get about that is.
Go ahead.
Well, he said that there would be growing pains. He got asked about whether or not basically growing pains were a factor in the slow start today, and was very snippy with the reporter who asked the question.
Who asked the question?
Say that something. I think it was Brooke Pryor. We all know he doesn't like her, doesn't like ESPN. That's like well on the record, but that's a fair question. If you're the quarterback and you said it in the offseason and somebody says, hey, are those growing pains maybe a reason things aren't going well right now, like some of that acclimation process? Yeah. Don't snap at him. Give him a real answer.
I don't know why they would have growing pains right now. I understand maybe up front on the offensive line, but the receivers are all, they've been in this, they've been in this offense for quite some time now. I mean, it's a new offense, but they've been around for a while. The running back's new, but the growing pains should be kind of, they should have taken care of all that right now. Let's go out to Andrew on line 5. How you doing, Andrew?
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, all I want to say is back when Terry Bradshaw was playing, if you remember back in the 70s, at the end of his career with Pittsburgh Steelers, okay, he started playing really bad, really shicey, right? And then he got traded off at the end of that, right? Do you agree with that? But there was reason for that. He was just Father Time came and hit him. Father Time is coming and hitting Ben Roethlisberger, and I think Ben Roethlisberger needs to, just.
You know what? Hey, thanks a lot, Andrew. I always hate to compare these teams and going back to the 70s. I mean, yeah, Terry Bradshaw, I mean, his last year he got hurt. He didn't have it, and it was kind of – they should have taken Dan Marino, what they should have done that year, and they didn't. But anyways, I'm not comparing him to Bradshaw. I mean, maybe the comparison, I think, is closer to like an Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, Phillip Rivers. I mean, you could tell when, quote, Father Time hit these guys. I mean, you can see it. You can see it right now. Ben thinks he can make the throw, but his body he's a one step behind or two steps behind now.
Yeah, he's got too many injuries. Speaking of Father Time, do you think Andrew there got into the old granddad before he decided to make that call? I think that's a distant relative of Father Time. Bradshaw, if he'd have handled his elbow surgery better back in the day when that was a much more rudimentary procedure, they didn't know as much, they weren't as skilled at fixing elbows. But if he had handled that a little bit differently, he might have extended his career by another couple of years. I think he admitted to that. The Ben thing, the Andrew overall point there, though, as funny as it was to get to it, I mean, it is true, I think, in a very base level way. He's 39. He's never taken care of his body like Brady. He's never been a maniac like that. He's breaking down. Like, I understand why it's hard for people to acknowledge that. It's staring them in the face. That doesn't make it any less true, though.
Yeah. All right, we got to go to our Tri-State Office Furniture tweet of the day before we take a break here and get to more phone calls. Our lines are packed here tonight, Chris. This is from, one of your favorite sites, PFF. And
yeah.
They love Kenny Pickett. Everyone loves Kenny Pickett. He's leading the nation in passer rating right now, number one. But also he's number one at 146 when he throws 10 yards or more, something that Ben should be doing. And 12 touchdowns, he's first. But he has 19 touchdowns, and I think his passer rating's in the high 90s right now, which is number one in the country. So that's our Tri-State Office Furniture tweet of the day. Back in a couple minutes.